self-confidence, and the fact that this happened in 2018 also, when 377 were decriminalized, that we are not seen as criminals. And right now also the idea is that our families, which we have been forming since ages, right, it's not a new phenomena, those will be recognized under law. So the societal change will come from here. As NGO workers or development workers, that's what the work that we do is, to bring that change. So we'll contribute in those little ways, but the judgment will definitely be a contribution to that fight. Yeah.
Well, for us personally, we will be married in London in a few weeks' time, and so it won't affect us too much. But obviously, those opportunities are not available to most people here, and so that will make a big difference. But also, I think when you have a decision like this, if it goes that way, it helps society move forward. It helps people understand, it helps families understand. Perhaps sometimes parents can begin to see that their children, who might want to be with someone of the same sex, can have the kind of life that they would want. They can have some of the things that they think are important, which is difficult without that kind of recognition. Well, I don't know, perhaps you know more about the social situation in India.
Well, I think the social situation in India is complex. There's lots of different communities. There's lots of different economic backgrounds involved. I think that there's different levels of education and awareness. And the UK, of course, has been quite liberal for a longer time. So society's changed and had that time to kind of evolve. India is at that changing point over the last several years. So I think it's still in that process of change. So you sort of see, having lived in both, you sort of see that difference. You see how it was. Even when I first moved to the UK, gay marriage was not legal there. It was only legalized in 2013. So I've been able to see the change in society and their views on, and how that's kind of influenced the LGBT community to be more stronger, to be more vocal, and to be more free ultimately. So I think that change I'd like to see in India as well. And I think it is happening, but the verdicts today will actually improve that process and give us people the freedom that we demand and require. Yeah.
Cisgender heteronormative way, and that is detrimental to the basics of a marriage, because if one partner is not involved enough, then when we look at the future of it all, it will not be a very perfect marriage unit, right? But if the laws come in, and if they can also get married, it will first and foremost, at least somewhere down the line, probably give the relief to the families that at least they are married. Because even when we look at the straight couples, they know that the partner is not serious when the partner does not want to get married. But that basic law is just not allowed within the queer community. So I think as a country that is so family oriented, so marriage oriented, this is a basic that we owe to our own people.
I'm very optimistic. I don't think, listening to the bench, the Chief Justice and the petitioners, that there would be sort of a move back. I think the intent is to move forward. Otherwise, these petitions would have been thrown out of the Supreme Court long before. So I think I'm very optimistic. What is the quantum of rights that we will get, in what shape and form, whether it's under the Special Marriage Act or they're proposing a civil union or things like that, that is something to be really seen. It's very difficult to say. I think the Chief Justice has made a statement in between saying it's quite complicated. So I think if we keep that in mind, we don't know to what extent it will go, but definitely it's not going to be a move back, it's going to be a move forward. And I think that's a big deal, because it's 5 years since 377 was read down. It is 2014, it's 9 years since Nalsa, and we've had quite a few, we've had conversion therapy banned by the Chennai High Court. So I think there's lots that's happened in the last 5 to 9 years, and so I don't think we could be seeing something going back,
So from the marriage equality petition, as it's being called, expecting it to be a favorable one, and personally something which I would like to see a positive judgment on, besides inclusion in the Special Marriage Act, is the right to form chosen families and on adoption as well, adoption of children. Yeah.
What change in circumstances do you see after this judgment if it comes in your favor?
So I mean, there is, well, I mean, just being recognized to begin with, because wherever we go we have to explain. I have a lesbian partner who's not here, she's traveling, but wherever we go, whether it's banks, whether it's hotels, whether it's to buy something, hospitals, there is always that need to explain, to fight. Every day is sort of reasserting our identity, reasserting our rights, that we need this, you need to give us a joint bank account, etc. So with this judgment, I'm sure that that will become easier, and secondly, our families are still considered our natal families in many cases, not in my particular case, but in many cases people have faced a lot of violence. LGBT persons have faced a lot of violence from their natal families, but still they get to be in charge. So when I was coming here in a cab, I was scared to wear this because I know the talk about judgment is going on, but I feel scared to so I wore it only after I reached here because this seemed like a safe space. So this is what I did. When I travel in the metro, there are many times when someone can't make out whether I'm a man or a woman. I identify as non-binary, by the way, but if I'm going in the women's queue, sometimes people just shout. Once I was almost attacked at the Chandni Chowk metro station because I was entering the women's toilet and the guard thought that I was a man going in there, so he ran so aggressively towards me. He apologized later, he didn't harm me, but just that moment where, what if he hadn't stopped, what if that in 1 second I was not able to convince him that I was a woman. So these kind of things are, that is immediate physical danger. Apart from that, people like my partner and I, we've been together for 4 years now, a little more than 4 years, but there are still a lot of people who don't recognize that we are romantic and sexual partners. If you're a married couple, or even if you're a cishet couple who's not married, I mean, that thing that that there is an acknowledgement of a relationship, so that is also not there. So these are some of the things. And then chosen families, my partner's parents are they passed away, only the brother is there, not the best relationship, I think, but she should have the right to choose those friends who have been with her since the last 20 years or so to be identified as family, because that's what they are. She had dengue and her friends took turns taking care of her so that she was not alone at home even for a minute. That was before I came in the picture.